All right, welcome to part 3 of the interior window never-ending job thing. So today we're going to kind of do one of the final things that needs to be done here. And by the way, I'm letting this sit in the sun and kind of warm up. And I'll explain why in a minute. We are going to be sealing the front and the rear windows. This is something that you need to do. Some people say you don't need to put any sealant on there. There's no way that this gasket fits so perfectly that water won't leak. I just don't see it, especially around the corners. So we are going to be using some urethane sealant. There's bedding and glazing compound and all kinds of stuff. If in the last part, you'll remember if you've seen it by this time, I did put strip caulking on the outside of the lip that mates with the body. That's probably not enough to seal it though. So this is just extra insurance. So we're going to be filling in this gap here. I'm probably not going to do this part, and I will probably test it. I will leak check this. If we get any seepage, then we'll do this. But I'm thinking that this probably isn't going to leak. I'm thinking that water's not going to make its way around this. It, however, will get in here and seep in. So this is fast cure auto glass urethane. This stuff is high viscosity, very thick. I hear it's a real bitch to work with. There's two different versions of this. Looking back on it, I probably should have bought the stuff that's a little thinner. It's a medium viscosity. It's probably a little easier to work with. I'm going to be using my hand caulking gun for this, so I suspect that it's not going to be easy. But you know, we'll see. All right, let's pop this cherry and see what it'll do. These, hopefully I'm in frame here, but these have a pop top on the bottom to keep them sealed, so you got to take that out of there to get it into the gun. I think that these work with a powered gun far better. So, you know, we're doing it the hardest way possible, which is, you know, my style. I like doing things hard way. I also have my pair of diagonal cutters here. In case I need to open this more. We're going to see how hard this is to flow. It's relatively cold. It's a cold day in LA for here. You know, we're having a cold front move through. So I'm going to start probably at the top here so you guys can see it. I kind of got it zoomed halfway in. Just kind of a happy medium. You know, I don't want to focus on one small spot, but I don't want to do the whole thing because you won't be able to see anything. So anyways, let's see if we can get this stuff to flow. It's supposedly very difficult. Oh, I forgot to do one thing too. It is sealed on both ends, so we have to make sure that we pop this open with probably a nail. All right, we opened it up, got it nice and wide. I don't know if you can see that or not. Keep a rag handy because this stuff is about as nasty as black tar. And if you have a nice paint job, mask this off. If you have a shitty paint job like I do, well, the choice is yours. So let's see if we can flow this stuff. It doesn't look like it's going too bad, but it's definitely requires a little bit more pressure than your regular old silicone one does. So I'm just going to see if I can get this flowing here, and we're just going to shoot it into the gap. Now, I'm not going to get it underneath it. I don't really see the need. As long as we get this filled in right here, that's good enough for me. And I'll take a close-up after I'm done just to show you. And I might open this tip up just a little bit. It's just going to be too difficult, I think, with it that small on the end. So I wanted to gauge it because you can always make it bigger, but you can't make it smaller. So they give you little predefined lines on here kind of to cut it too. So we'll open it up 2 steps. So I kind of, I don't know if you see it or not, but I'd say it's probably 3/16 now. Make sure I got my angle right. Let's try that. Much easier. This is just a really slow process. You want to get it deep down in there, you know, and you don't want to make a big mess. You don't want it flowing too fast. But I'm just kind of working it, and maybe I can get my, maybe I'll grab the camera here and I'll show you guys what I'm doing, because I don't think that you can see it. All right, see how I'm just filling that in right there? We're just going to keep doing that. You know, like I said, this stuff kind of flows a little bit slow, but I'm just kind of filling it in. You know, if you've ever used a caulking gun before, that's exactly what this is. It's just a hell of a lot thicker. And so we just want to work it down in there. You don't need to put a big old blob up here, you know. So when I say that, don't fill this whole thing up. You don't need to do that. You just need to bridge the gap between the body and the seal. And this is my method. You know, probably a windshield guy might laugh at me, but you know what? I'm sure that this will work. You just want to make sure you don't leave any voids way down in there. So it's a very difficult, slow process because this stuff is real thick. I've heard you can boil these in hot water too to try and loosen it up, you know, leave it out in the sun, whatever. So I'm just going to keep working this. Okay, I've used about a half a tube. So CJ's tells you need 3 tubes. But that's if you're doing the inside of the lip. I don't agree with the way that they did it. I really, judging by how tight these gaskets are, I really don't think you need to seal the inside lip here. Even then, if I've only used a half a tube and this window's smaller, it's really only 2 tubes if you seal both. That's up to you guys. I'm going to try it without this. I do not think, if I can run a hose on this, I might do these corners because they're lifting a little bit. But I don't think it's going to leak. Maybe it's a good experiment. Let's try it. We'll do a leak test on it, see if I'm right or wrong. This stuff is already starting to set, so it's already getting tacky. So we know that it's fast drying, like they said. It doesn't stay pliable like the old mastic does. That stuff's out of date. You know, this is futuristic stuff here. It sets up. It'll get not hard. It stays pliable, but it doesn't stay sticky like the old mastic does. That stuff was nasty. All right, the back is done. Just a little tip, and I might have overdone it a little bit, but you need to leave a gap. You got to get it down in there like that. You need to leave a gap because otherwise you'll never get the trim on the outside. If you fill this up. See, I got overzealous here. What I'll probably do is come along with a little screwdriver and just lift out some, just to make sure I've got a clean gap all the way around here, because yeah, this is too much. If you don't do that, you'll never get that trim back in. So I'm going to go through and clean that up. The front windshield doesn't have so much of a problem with that because it's so far inset here. Maybe down here it might be, but you know, it sits back so far from the rubber, I don't think that it's as much of a problem. But it's just something to watch out for. You know, it might not occur to you until it happens. I started thinking about it. I said, well, if I fill this all the way up here, you know, I'm thinking, oh, we'll get it sealed real well. I'm going, wait a minute, I won't be able to get it into the clips. So just keep an eye out for that. So now I'm an impatient person, so I'm going to go ahead and do the wrong thing and put the trim on before the urethane's dry and have it harden up and not let me ever get the trim off again, just like I had when I pulled it apart. Actually, this stuff is kind of set up already, so it's pretty fast. So I'm not too concerned about it, but I want to get this thing together. And like I said, I'm impatient, so it's soft, but it isn't too sticky anymore. So it's up to you guys. I'm going to go ahead and put this thing together because I'm kind of over it. The bottom goes on first, and the sides, and the top. That's just how they overlay. And you can logically deduce it by looking at how this is a top piece for the passenger side. You can see how the cutouts are. This is a side rail for the passenger side. See how the cutout goes over it? So obviously it goes bottom, side, top. see if I can push it in by hand. This is the original one. It's stainless. I'm not going to damage it very easily. But you do need to be careful. Might need a block of wood and a mallet. And you can just tap it in. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so it literally just snapped into place. I didn't have to use a hammer or anything. That's the nice thing about using the original stainless stuff. You don't have to worry about kinking it. I mean, you do if you put a lot of force on it, but not, you know, it fits. If nothing fits better than OEM. Try and save this stuff if you can. Don't buy. I had to buy a new one for the back, and it's aluminum, and I can already tell you it's going to be a huge pain in the ass. This fit just like it was supposed to, and boy, it sure looks nice now with a new gasket in there and everything. So I just, you know, started on one end, kind of got it, you know, centered, and just snapped it under each one. You know, just make sure you don't miss any, because then you'll end up on top of a clip, and that would be bad. So if we look at the gap there, it's about even with the rubber, and over here, same thing. It's about even with the rubber, so it fit just like it's supposed to. Okay, so that took about 2 minutes to put all that trim on. Now, of course, the only spots that are screwed up are, I bent this a little bit, and I thought I'd damage it more by trying bending it back. It's kind of tilted out a little bit, so it doesn't fit quite perfect there. But, I mean, it pretty much went in like it's supposed to. So now I can put the wipers on it, and we're done. I won't have the trim in the rear for a day or two. Just ordered it up from CJ's. So I'll put it on when I get it. But it's shaping up just fine. You know, these things are never perfect unless you do this every day for a living. And I might need to take a look at this one. Not sure why that it's sitting just a little bit proud right there, but it's it is underneath it. I mean, it's not going to come off. So anyways, that's just doing a quick seal on the windshield. I probably should have leak tested the windshield before I put that on there, but whatever. It's California. It never rains anyways. So obviously I'm getting really burnt out. I'm not usually so careless, but you know, it's anything's going to be better than what it was. That seal was cracked in about 8 different places on the windshield, and it barely leaked. So anyways, just wanted to go over that real quick. That's the sort of half-assed right way to seal a windshield. Try and reuse your trim if you can. The new stuff is aluminum. This is stainless. It's good stuff. So just, you know, keep that in mind. So I just wanted to tack on to this. I did do a leak check, aka I washed the car, and yeah, it leaks. And I could see exactly where it was coming from too. It wasn't a big deal. I caught it pretty quick. Yeah, the gasket, I was wrong about this. It just doesn't fit tightly against the glass like I thought that it would. No big deal. I thought that might be a problem. I think I mentioned it before. I just took the urethane, and there's actually almost enough. I had to open up the new tube and use a little bit, but I just pulled the trim back off. You know, it's pretty easy. And I just took the caulk gun, and I just went all the way around and just shot a very, you know, not very little, but just enough to fill in between the glass and the gasket. And I just went all the way around. You can see it's kind of shiny where it is right there, just on the edge, and just filled it up all the way around. Same thing with the rear. The rear leaked not as bad in that corner over there. So I just, you know, went all the way around, got a real solid connection there. And it's this stuff is so hard yet pliable at the same time. It's if you think you can use regular silicone, you really shouldn't. And this stuff bonds to glass too. So just make sure you use the right sealant. But I'm going to test it again today. I think it's probably got a few more hours. I'm going to let it warm up out here and let it cure for a little bit longer. But I'll just take and I'll put some water in here, and we'll see if we get any more leakage. I don't think so. That was the only place that it leaked. Was in these corners right here.